The clocks to this morning, and flash flooding caused major issues for drivers in the morning rush. That included what has traditionally been known as the problem area, but until recently, MoDOT thought it might have had the upper hand on that problem. News 4's Ray Preston live in Valley Park with what MoDOT is saying this afternoon. Ray?
Well, right now, traffic is slowing once again on 141 here at 44. But this morning, the area, the low-lying area, like we've seen so many times in the past, well, yeah, that was flooded. A $22 million project completed about a year and a half ago included a flyover ramp that was to help with the traffic flow. And MoDOT says there were some drainage modifications made as well.
But Monday morning, the floodwaters rose once again. MoDOT says for months there were no problems, even though we've had some pretty good rainfalls. But in the past 3 to 6 months, they have had problems. We asked MoDOT's Bob Becker what had changed.
We're not real sure. That's one of our concerns right now. I mean, the intensity of rain, last few weeks, we've got some very intense rains in a very short period of time, which really affects it quickly. Our drainage structures aren't built to take that.
141 at 44, it gets about 30,000 vehicles a day. It's a low spot, and trying to elevate the area would be costly. Becker says something could be blocking drainage pipes. MoDOT plans on sending a camera into the drainage lines, hopefully within the next week, to scope out any problems.
There may be something that's got in there and crossways in the pipe. It's still draining, but it's not draining as fast as it could. So maybe we need to get something in there and get that out of there. So that's our next step, is to get in there and investigate each of those pipes, make sure everything's in good shape.
Basically, the thinking is before you can come up with a solution, you have to be able to pinpoint the problem exactly. Now, just a few miles from where we're standing here over in Fenton, there were several businesses that once again were hit hard by flash flooding. It's the second time in less than a week. Coming up on News 4 at 6, we'll head over there and tell you all about those problems they're facing. Reporting live in Valley Park, Ray Preston, News 4.
Where Ray is wasn't the only trouble spot on Interstate 44. Take a look at this video shot by one of our News 4 team members on the way to work today. This is just east of Lewis Road. You see all lanes covered with water. Flash flooding hit hard at Eureka High School. In the big box on your screen, you see video a viewer sent us of swift-moving floodwater just pouring over some of the athletic fields. And in the smaller box, video from Powerhouse Sky Zoom 4 of the aftermath. Debris all over the fields, a lot of fences damaged. Just a mess. That's what you see there on the right side of your screen. Well, the Rockwood School District decided the roads simply too dangerous for buses and students, and they made the decision earlier today to close school. Some buses did have to wait out the flash flooding, though, before turning around to take some students home. Russell Kinsall live in Wildwood, where he's been talking with parents and school officials about this morning's decision.
Claire, right now Highway 109 is high and dry, but look no further than this Chrysler 200 right over my left shoulder to see how bad the conditions were this morning. This is what convinced school officials that things were just too dangerous. They had to call off classes today. Now, the woman driving this car was safely rescued, but her car was swept away almost a quarter of a mile up 109 right in front of LaSalle Middle School. This dramatic video of a car floating away in flash flooding on Highway 109 in Wildwood was shot by an assistant principal at LaSalle Middle School. He said he watched as a truck pulled up and the driver helped to safely rescue the female driver.
Kind of wedged his car in between so she could get on the hood of her car. She climbed up on the hood and got in his car. As soon as he backed off, I think the weight of her allowed that car to rise up a little bit and just floated up about a quarter mile down the road.
It was conditions like this that prompted school officials to cancel classes. Some of the students, like 6th grader Devin Bookman, were already on buses headed for school.
Everyone was laughing, but honestly, I was kind of scared.
In many places, water was over the road, but Devin said on her route she only saw swift water on the side of the road. The district notified bus drivers to avoid the high water and then take the kids back home.
The bus drivers were able to pull to higher ground, maybe on the edge of the road, to make sure their wheels were not in any sort of water.
We stayed there for about 10, 20, 30 minutes, and then we heard on the radio, it's time to take the kids home.
It took about an hour to get the kids home. In the meantime, though, school officials were assessing damage to athletic fields at Eureka High School, where some of the fields were submerged by the flash flooding. Rockwood school officials didn't want one of their buses to end up like this, so they had to make a really quick decision this morning. We'll have more about how they had to make a split-second decision to call off classes today and what kind of damage was done at Eureka High School. We'll take a look at that coming up on News 4 at 5. Live in Wildwood, Russell Kinsall, News 4.
Big